tasty pastry. It's a low-carb Pop-Tart. It's got 3 to 4 grams of net carbs, and we love this show. This is our best place to be in LA.
Welcome back to Legendary Foods Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, and today is Monday, December 12th, 2022. And let's find out what's going on in the world of bodybuilding and fitness. If you're downrange in classic physique, this might be a good time to start ducking for cover, because URS Kalasinski looks like he's ready to bust out the big guns. When URS Camp released this check-in last week, the resounding opinion from most of the people we heard from was that he looked like he might be ready to push Terrence Ruffin as the guy we see step in as Chris's biggest challenger. In the little bit that we saw, he looked like he'd made some pretty significant improvements from the back, not to mention the fact that his conditioning also seems to be spot on. At the very least, this is going to give him a chance to get some good looks from the judges early on. Dating back to the start of last year, he's gotten better and better every time we've seen him, which means that if he's nudged that bar along far enough, he might be able to make this a lot closer than people think. I want to put a pin in everything that we just said about URS Kalasinski for a minute, because half of this equation all centers on what we think we're going to get this year from Chris Bumstead. When Chris made the decision to part ways with Ian Valliere as his coach, one of the primary drivers behind his decision was the fact that he just wasn't able to get the level of attention he thought he needed in order for him to really bring out the best version of himself. So if that was truly the case, then that means whatever he brings to the table this year should be him at his apex, because now he's in a situation where he shouldn't have to be shortchanging his time. Chris at his peak, or at least whatever version of his peak that we've seen over the last few years, has been damn near untouchable, which means that even if the entire field is better, it really won't matter all that much, because the distance he's put between them and himself will be too wide of a gap for anyone to close. There's a mental performance coach named Jason Selk who works with various professional sports teams and businesses who advocates using something called a centering breath as part of your mental workout before you dive into whatever your medium of competition is. And if I didn't know any better, I'd say that Keone Pearson is centering all of his breaths right now, because the stuff that we're seeing from him right now is absolutely nuts. A few days ago, Keone said that falling flat by finishing 14th in last year's contest was one of the best things that ever happened to him, because it relit his internal fire, which is a big part of the reason for all the success that he's had of late. For one reason or another, we don't hear Keone's name mentioned in the same breath as Kamal or Sean for being a legitimate title contender this year, which almost doesn't seem fair, because we know he's got all the tools. So if he can find a way to stay centered over the next week or so, there's no reason to believe that he won't be right there in the mix. When you've been in the game as long as Kamala Gargni, you might not need centering breaths, because you've literally been through and seen every possible scenario there is, which means that you can play chess while everyone else is playing checkers, because you already understand how all the pieces on the board are supposed to move. Kamal might be one of the only guys in this entire lineup who we've seen consistently perform at a high level all season long. And when you add that to the fact that he's also been down this road before, and that he knows what he needs to do to land a checkmate here, it does give you the feeling that he might already be 10 moves ahead of everyone else. And when someone like Kamal Gargni shows up in blitz mode, more often than not, he's taking out the field along the way. And that does it for yet another edition of Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, reminding you to always be true to your passions, and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.